Hello, my name is Trent. I'm going to be graduating from the MPA program this semester, and I'm going to cover my journey to Charleston, my undergraduate career, my graduate career, my thesis project, as well as some future plans that I have. So this first map is a few points of interest throughout my life that I think are interesting and of significance to go over for this presentation. I spent a lot of time in Indiana, and that's where we will be zooming in on first. Zooming in on Indiana, here is a few different points of significance and a little bit about what they are to follow along with these maps, which this will be zooming in on shortly. Follow along with the upper right-hand red rectangle. So this is now going to zoom in on Indianapolis, Indiana. And this is where I was born, and if Charleston ever becomes unlivable due to flooding or whatever other reason, probably where I'd want to live. It's a great community, I think, there. But I didn't grow up here. I grew up in a little area outside of Kokomo, Indiana. And this is a very rural area outside of a Midwestern, small Rust Belt city. And I spent most of my childhood there until I moved down to a car-dominated suburb of Indianapolis, equidistant from where I was born and where I spent most of my childhood. Probably the least interesting place throughout this slide deck. It's more interesting from here. Moving back to Indianapolis is where I had my first undergraduate experience. This was at Butler University, and I decided it was a good idea to study pre-pharmacy, but I do not recommend studying pre-pharmacy or pharmacy, and I could explain why. I do not have time right now. So my second college experience was at the College of Charleston. I decided to go and study historic preservation and community planning for the purpose of becoming an architect. Spent a lot of time at 12 Bull Street and then now SSMB. And that's where I am currently. This goes in now to some undergrad work that I got involved with that got me interested in this field of public administration, which is structure documentation, which is preserving structures that are of importance to the community by drawing them to understand how to preserve them, because that is something you need to know. 2 community centers right there. Some other work in my undergrad career that I got involved with was with the Catholic Student Association at CFC, where I got to lead a bunch of volunteer events and had some meetings to organize them, and that was me at one of those long meetings. So now going into my graduate career, I started out in the community, actually sorry, I'm going ahead of myself. Urban design work. So I started by thinking that I might go into urban design by putting together some 3D models of cities and mapping them out, and then I spent a couple of summers as a camp counselor, and I really like working at Charleston County Parks. I liked working there a lot and had a good time. But that's not what I ended up doing for my career, and I'll be getting into how I got into that. I wrote my undergraduate thesis on North Charleston and the connection that Park Circle and Hampton Park created along the old trolley line, and how urban public transportation is not a new concept. But my real capstone project for my undergrad career was writing the first draft of the report which put the Esau Jenkins bus on the National Register of Historic Vehicles. And that is it displayed at the Capitol building. Again, be giving a presentation on it. So the next thing that I did is, now starting the MPA program, I got involved with some food security work through the Community Assistance Program. This is a resource card that I put together, as well as an image from a conference that I attended with Dr. Kale. And I ended up not continuing that work too much. I started to get involved with GIS work. And this was the first GIS project I did, which was with NOAA Gulf Coast on their fishing line recycling program, to analyze how that program was doing, and continuing on with some GIS work and why I like doing this, what kinds of things that I like to do. If you take an image like this, which you cannot see where any rice berms are located, you can use different advanced GIS techniques to locate them, which matters for flooding applications, historic reasons as well. I spent a summer at Seabrook Island at a private area for a while, just to create a website for them which maps out their stormwater infrastructure. This kind of work can also be applied in any kind of community, so I thought it was good to create that. My thesis project is on the Arlington National Cemetery 911 system, where my work actually has impacted the real system variables of that system. And going into my future plans next, I'm working for the Department of the Navy. And other than that, I spend a lot of time in school right now, so once I'm done, I know what to do with myself. There, that's it.